Hey, this is Stimming. In this video, I'm going to show you the BlueBox and the BlackBox from 1010music. The BlueBox is the new product. The BlackBox is not so new, but still very often renewed by new firmware. This one is 1.7.5 with granular synthesis, multi-sampling, polyphonic sampling, you name it. Enjoy. As you see, both are powered via USB, and I decided to power the BlackBox with this power bank, because that's what I did on tour. I have the BlackBox, this is mine, I have it since 1.5 years. And the other one is powered by a plug. There's one thing you need to know about devices that are powered via USB. Each device has to have a separate power device, otherwise you have big hum and noise issues. It has something to do with the grounding of the power in combination with the audio signal, but this is something you need to know. If one of those is very noisy, then check your power supply first. Okay, they are powered. You don't have a switch. You don't have a power switch. It's just booting as soon as there's power in. So first things first. As this thing is a sampler, I need a sound generator, and I decided to go with the Midi Microfreak. So I implement it into the setup right now. That's the first thing. Main out Microfreak into input 2. The BlueBox has 6 stereo inputs, which can be 12 mono inputs. The software is capable of handling 12 tracks. Input 2, then the BlackBox output 1. It has 4 stereo outputs, goes into input 1 from the BlueBox. Then there's a speciality with the BlueBox. It can record stuff. The BlueBox can send out a Midi Clock. So with this Midi Clock, it's possible to do sync record. You can record stuff in sync to external gear. Unfortunately, it's not possible to run the BlueBox in slave mode yet. So you cannot have a digitakt and do some performance and then let the BlueBox record it in slave. What you have to do is the BlueBox has to be the master, and then you can record on time with other devices as well. You can record first this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing all on top of each other in a new track. This works. So what I do, MIDI out into MIDI in, and then I'm gonna use output 2 from the BlueBox. It has 3 stereo outs, 2 main outs, and 1 headphones. But the headphone, it's all independent. You can configure it the way you want. Into out 2 into audio in from the BlackBox. It's complicated. Then the BlackBox can send out an analog clock, just an impulse clock. And with this, I'm gonna sync the Microfreak clock out into clock in. And of course the main out into the recorder so we can hear what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. The BlackBox, if you open it up, it looks like this. It has 16 pads that can be filled by different types of sampling. What we do now is to record a bass drum from the Microfreak. Oh, and of course it doesn't work. There it is. Why? Why does it work right now? That's strange. Okay, I just made a bass drum here. The BlueBox right now is configured as a 6-track mixer. It can go from 4 to 12, single row, double row. Let's go single row. I record into 2. No, the Microfreak is connected into 2. Then output 2 is sent out to which comes in the black box. You see, the black box can resample itself in left and right, and blah, blah, blah. It's all options that you can imagine. It's not that many. And right now, it's also sending it out again into the blue box because it is record monitoring, which I'm going to switch off. Okay. I record in custom length and on a threshold. So as soon as I, now both machines are running, as soon as I press record, it waits until there's a signal. By the way, both machines are a bit noisy. I wasn't sure if it's the microfreak, but even if I plug out the microfeed, it's still always a little bit of ground noise there. The audio quality in both, this is something I can say right at the beginning, is very, very good, but they're a bit noisy. The touchscreen works just the way you think it should, which is amazing. It's awesome. Yeah, so you can cut here. And right now, the sampler is in a very normal sampling mode. It just records here. You can play. Yeah. And you see the audio out goes into input 1 from the blue box. And okay, bass drum, snare. Again, recording on custom length. Okay, I take the last one. I got a couple of snares here. Let's go for the last one. If you have like longer files, using the black box sometimes feels like I need to roll like this, or this is a very long file and it's not too fast to go through here. The speed of tweaking depends on the zoom scale, but still sometimes I feel like I need to twiddle? For a very long time to get where I actually want to. Also, the engine is precise enough to just loop one waveform, one single waveform, and you could play it as a sampler, just a little bit like the Octatrack. Not like a sampler, you can play it like a synth, right? Because it's precise enough to just play one waveform, just to let you know. Okay, bass drum, a snare. Okay, we need a click. On the blue box, the tempo of the project is on the project page with B. I will go a bit faster, let's say 112, metronome on. The metronome is very low in volume. That's because of the firmware here. It's going to be, they know about it and they're going to update it. Let's go to the black box. I got those two samples. You see the different pages. There's a pads keys sequence. We need to go to the sequence page, and then we have 16 sequencers that are waiting to be filled with data. And for now, we just go to the basic setup, which is a step. Each step is a 16th, and the whole loop is a 1-bar loop with 16 steps. So once I press record here, you see this thing going through, and that's the 1-bar loop from the sequencer. Oh wow, that was very bad. Clear. Maybe I'd use the metronome from the black box because I don't hear that one. In the tools section of the black box, you see brightness, headphone. There's a master out compressor. On the blue box, there's also a master out compressor. They're a bit different. This one is much better sounding, and this is just an on and off compressor. It's mostly being used for like getting the master out a little bit in control. It sounds good, but it's not like a compressor that you want to tweak or something. You cannot, basically. Metronome on, play, output 1. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, then some percussion. This time I want to record one bar. And it record on time. So if I press record on the next one, it's going to start recording for one bar. 1, 5, 4. Here it is. Wow, that's too loud. Oh, well, it's actually it's quite loud. The gain, was the gain setting on 2. Let's go down here. Why is that so loud? Okay, and make a new recording. You see, this symbol has changed. And the black box right now is in a loop mode. That means it's going to play a loop as a loop. And there's something very special about that, but I come back to that later. For now, I switch into slicer. And I know it was, it's an 8th tone arpeggio, which is on time, by the way, because of the analog clock. So we're gonna slice on a grid, but into 8 slices. Of course, you can change that. For example, this one doesn't make any sense, so I'm gonna put one here. And there's also this one here. I'm gonna put this, and this is bullshit. Split. And we don't need that. Oh. Hello? Okay. Then on the keys page, if I go back to the bass drum, I can play the bass drum chromatically. Do you hear that aliasing, this little ring on the very high frequency? Some tones have it. The black box has a high quality mode, and there it's gone. This sounds very good, actually, the high quality mode. Whatever. We slice the loop, and the key page has another mode, which is the slice mode, so I can play the slices individually. And I do it into another sequence. I need a little bit of reverb on this one. I also think the snare is not loud enough. Okay. So, next thing, some melodic material. I got the ether patch. The BlueBox has 2 effects on board, which is a delay and a reverb. Unfortunately, I cannot record this one into the black box because it's not possible to route the effects onto another output yet. They're probably going to allow this in a future update. So I just wanted to say I just record some audio here. This time 4 bars. It's in the clip mode again. And now we come to the speciality. The clip mode does time stretch. So if I go down with the tempo for, let's say, 96, and we apply the clip, you see, it's on time. And I can assure it's actually sounding quite good. It's a little bit better than the beat algorithm from Ableton, not as good as the Complex Pro, but it's somewhere in the middle. They do some rough slicing and then they grain it a bit, so it's quite useful, the time stretch algorithm. It's definitely on another level than the Octatrack. The Octatrack is 15 years old, so that's quite fair. It's 12 years old. It's fair, it's not magic, but inside a box like this, it's quite impressive to have a proper time stretch that also works on very long files. As soon as the black box knows how many bars are inside a file, it can time stretch it wherever you want it. Okay. Still, I need a sequence for triggering this one, but it was a 4-bar, did I say? So I changed the step length to quarters, and then 16 quarters are 4 bars, if I'm right. Oh, and of course I can. This is pad 9. The sequencer goes like this. You can apply it and you can pinch and zoom. One thing I really like is the capability of changing the notes with the 4 encoders, because that, as soon as you're getting used to it and know which encoder does what, it's very natural. You can change them wherever you want, and it's very nice. Finally, in the latest firmware, they also allowed to record off the grid, which for me was a very big issue with the firmwares before, that everything had to be quantized. Now it doesn't have to be quantized, which is very good. Thank you, 1010music, for finally doing this. One trigger for the clip. Also some reverb on here, please. Okay, then something smaller, because the black box has a grain engine. I just use those 2 tones, I think. Okay, so depending on the state of the sampler, you have different options down here. Every time when there's a black bar underneath the parameter, you can automate this via different inputs. For example, a MIDI CC. So I got this device by accident. I got it here. I just put it into the USB port. And use one of those knobs for the position. Oh, of course, I can use the keyboard to play it. What I did right now was to change the start position a bit. By this knob, and then you want to see what the grain engine is capable of. So you can apply grain size, a spread. So what I did now was to make a 2-bar sequencer, to tweak this sequence options to react as a 2-bar sequencer, and I played 2 notes. Somehow, did he catch the other one? No, he didn't. Okay, the Grain Engine has the capability to bring this machine to its processing limit very easily. So if I copy this and make it 4 times with different starting points, this one here, this one here, and this one here, we can see what happens if this machine gets to its limit. Did you see it was always also flickering, like the lights were like, oh, I cannot handle that. Okay, the machine can resample itself. I clear those so we can use it. The machine can resample itself in the resample mode. Also in the sampling mode, it can do multi-samples. It can work as a multi-sample robot. You can use it to sample your favorite monophonic analog synth. I heard a couple of people have something like that. And of course, it can load samples from the SD card easily. It's not an issue. You can throw 24 samples into one folder and tell the machine to load this whole folder, and it's going to put each sample on one note in one program, which you can apply like 16 times. I think the maximum amount of samples this machine can handle, the voices, is like something like 85, if I'm right, or maybe 65. I'm not sure. So it's quite a lot, but it is limited. Let's resample this one loop. 2 bars. Whoa, I'm too loud. I'm too loud. I'm way too loud. I'm too loud. Oh no. Has a filter. Of course, you could filter via an external CC. And the BlueBox has a fully parametric 4-band EQ on any channel, so you can do a freaking lot. I'm going to show you the effects just shortly here. Mixer page, we're on channel 1, FX1, FX2. So let's come to the conclusion. Just one thing. The way you can automate the black box via an external MIDI controller, you can also do this with the BlueBox. on basically any parameter. This works the following way. In edit mode, you can switch on the learn mode, and then you can apply any parameter. For example, the frequency of the EQ, which is right now on the master out. But any channel can have EQ. You see, I can move this, or it's really any parameter that is capable of being automated externally, which brings this thing to a complete other level. Because if you have your favorite controller, or if you have a certain type of controlling the machine in mind, you can do that. It's very open. My conclusion. I have to say I'm in love with both of them because they are so useful. It's incredible how easily they sneak in between different machines and fulfill a role that you want them to do flawlessly without any issue. So the BlackBox for me is like a notebook, a musical notebook, which I can carry around, and I did it. I had it in my last South Africa tour with me, and I also did a very, very nice instrumental, which became a big track afterwards. Of course, you cannot do a big track in here, but you can do something very stable and good sounding. And of course, you can bounce inside the machine and write things, print things onto the SD card as a WAV file. The BlueBox, I have it since 2 weeks now, and I already love it because it's so useful if I'm using a smaller setup or if I want to combine things. Oh, I didn't show you the record function yet. So what I can do, I can switch any channel into the record mode, and while it's playing and I press record, it's recording a file onto the SD card. And if you do this again, it records the second file, a second take, a third, a fourth, a fifth. And if the BlueBox is the MIDI master, you can do this on time as well. So you can just throw in those those WAV files into your DAW and work with it just the way you're used to, basically. Another thing which I really, really like with 1010music is they improve these machines regularly. The BlackBox, when it started, it didn't have the granular engine, it didn't have the multi-sample functionality. I'm not even sure if it was polyphonic in its basic sampler. And I'm waiting. I have a feeling that the BlueBox might be the really groundbreaking machine in maybe 1.5, 2 years. Right now it's useful and I love it, but I imagine something like a very small, very basic DAW in there that is like recording clips, but on time, and because of the touchscreen, you can like copy and duplicate them. I don't know. I'm a bit excited especially about the BlueBox. Yeah. Final conclusion, V2 /8. Yeah, they are sexy as hell. It's like Tesla of instrument makers.